Hello, everybody. It was yesterday that Facebook gave me an alert that a friend, a brother, and an associate, Mwankwo Ede, tagged me to a post that was viral, or that was going viral. I had a quick look, and it was to an article written by one Mr. Gabriel Okeke, a Catholic priest. I glanced through the first paragraph very rapidly. The Catholic priest, went into the subject of the origins of Igbos as descendants of Abraham, the Hebrew. I'm not going to really go into the merits of his positions. I have already written about that. The veracity or inaccuracy of what he was saying is not or are not as important as what I want to get into right now. It's important in my view that the Christian clergy are getting involved in this discussion, in this conversation revolving around the Igbo question. It's very, very critically important that Igbo people should ask, who are we? Where do we come from? If we do not ask these questions, then we are not being responsible enough. Our experiences demand that we ask questions like this, because if somebody experiences unusual things, the person should ask questions. The culture that I inherited from my ancestors demands this. It is not in doubt in any form or shape that the largest number of victims of the transatlantic slave trade whom survivors of this experience are today represented in the African American and Caribbean communities and Afro-Latino communities, came from the Igbo people. Of course, the greatest victims of Euro-colonialism in Africa were the Igbo people. Britain devoted majority of its resources to see that the Igbo society was virtually destroyed. Britain, that had become democratic by the time it came to Africa, suppressed the Igbo democracy, which was the world's fullest democracy. In fact, the only participatory democracy the world had experienced. Getting out of this, Britain and the British government of Harold Wilson, Nigeria, I will repeat, and the British government of Harold Wilson carried out massive bloodletting of Igbos between 1966 to 1970. By 1970, estimatedly 3 million Igbos were dead. So, looking at Igbo history, all you see are audachi, that is catastrophes, genocides, and all sorts of egregious crimes, egregious crimes perpetrated against the Igbos. And the people are struggling to survive. So, It gave me some joy that a member of the Catholic clergy was interested in the origins of the Igbos. So I decided to comment on his write-up. As I said, I do not want to go into the content of what he said. I will talk about it in passing. The most important thing at the moment is to alert the Igbo people that the entry of these people, who are the actual rulers of the Igbo people today, into the conversation is a step in the right direction. It shows that the great work started by your men and the defenders is bearing fruit. Because 20 years ago, 20 years plus ago, Omen and the defenders went into these subjects, called on the Igbos for the Igbo conference, and actually began to take steps in that to get all these things done. It shows that effects of the work of Omen and the defenders is reverberating throughout the Igbo community. The more that people like Gabriel Okeke get involved, the more we would find answers. We want them to be involved in not just the question of Igbos as descendants of Abraham. We want the Catholic clergy, the Anglican clergy, the Igbos that became Pentecostal, their clergy, to stop looking down on the Igbo society, viewing themselves as different, as a different class of Igbos, but to see themselves as part of Omunna. Whatever Omunna they belong to, they should attend meetings not in their clerical suits, not in their clerical and not in the gaps of priests. The Igbo priesthood, who by the way are the most important priesthood of the Igbos, I mean the Igbos who are priesthood by virtue of Omenana, they do not they dress differently from other Igbos when they attend Omunna meetings. So these Igbos that became Christians and became priests in the Christian community should identify fully as Igbos. If they want to attend town union meetings, they come as Igbos, so that we will discuss the fate of the Igbos. We want to look at the population of the Igbos. Is it going up or is it going down? I know that as single ethnic groups, by 1950 or thereabouts, the Igbo was the largest ethnic group in the territory that became Nigeria. Is it still so today? If it has gone down, why has it gone down? These are questions that all Igbos need to look at. Igbo history, fortunately, I will repeat, Omen and our defenders stepped in and is beginning to ensure that we tell our story ourselves. One of my closest associates, Nz'r Madike, told me in the morning that Ruben Abati of Arise Television said that apprenticeship is something every culture does. He could be right, but Igbo apprenticeship is unique. Igbo boyo, Igbo dibo. It is the only apprenticeship I know of in the world. It is the only apprenticeship tradition I know of in the world where the person that trained the boy gives him money. The only parallel to this you find is the one you find in the Hebrew Bible, where the Lord God, Chukwu, the God of Israel, told the Israelites, if your brother, an Israelite, becomes poor, comes to your house for succor, he shall serve thee for 7 years. At the end of 7 years, thou shalt not leave him empty-handed. You shall settle him from thy stock, so that he will take off on his own. So, if Omen and the defenders is not alive to his responsibility, you know, unfortunately, Igbos listen to outsiders more than to themselves. A lot of our people could buy what Arise TV said, that every culture has an apprenticeship system. The apprenticeship system of the Igbos is different from that of the Yorubas, is different from that of the Fulanis, is different from that of the Greeks, is even different from what I've seen in America. I will repeat, the Igbo apprenticeship system is the only one, or tradition is the only one, where somebody comes to your house, you teach him a trade and you give him money. So, with the entry, with the return of members of the Igbo clergy who became Christians, or who became Christians and then became clergy, to the Igbo community, all these discussions will begin to receive attention from including themselves, because they are part of the Igbo community. Wherever the Igbo community is lacking, they should contribute, and let's all find solutions together. Thank you, brothers and sisters.